So I keep hearing about sellers who do this one particular thing, and I just don't think it's a good idea. So I'm going to talk to you guys about this on the other side. So without any further ado, let's go. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is John from Flippin' Ain't Easy. And as I mentioned just a moment ago, there's something that sellers are doing, not everyone, but a few, and I think it's just pointless, and that is leaving a false positive feedback on a buyer or a bad buyer's account. So the way it works is because sellers can't leave a buyer a negative feedback, and we haven't been able to do so for years, certain sellers are going on and leaving what is called a false positive, meaning that they're leaving negative feedback in a positive comment space. So it registers as a positive. And there's a number of reasons why it's just not a good idea. Number one, you leave any kind of a positive feedback, it comes up as green. It mixes with all the other green feedbacks. Someone's browsing through the feedbacks, they may not catch it, right? It's not like the negative feedback that one would get. And of course, it registers as a negative, and that red mark sticks out like a sore thumb because it just sticks out as compared to the green. Now, most people use the feedback system to determine if they want to buy from this particular person when they're about to make a purchase on an item. And if you just have someone who buys only and never sells, they will never have a negative feedback or a negative mark on their account. And if they go to buy your item, this buyer, let's say they have a bunch of false positive feedbacks on their account, they can buy your item anyway, and then they buy your item, and then you investigate to see who they are. And most sellers don't do that. They simply just ship the item. The only time, at least in my case, that I investigate is if I'm about to accept a best offer and I'm looking at the feedback they have left for others. That to me is more important than trying to find some false positives. In fact, I've never looked for a false positive feedback on a buyer. It's more important to see how that buyer interacts with other sellers. And if they're constantly leaving negative feedback, you can't make everyone happy. You're going to have a small percentage of the population who isn't going to be satisfied. Maybe they don't like the way you shipped it. They don't like the amount of time it took for it to be shipped. Maybe they were expecting your open box to be brand new and it's opened. Maybe it still is new, but they don't like the way the actual packaging is. It could be a lot of different things. Maybe your red is like orangish red to them. It could be a number of things. And your key to see how they treat other sellers is looking at that left for others link in their feedback. And that'll tell you a lot. You look at the ratio. Is there a lot of negative feedbacks versus positive? Do they never leave positive feedback? Is it all negative? Or is it just a rare thing? Maybe they've left a negative feedback and all the rest is positive. That's more forgivable to me than someone who just likes to beat up on sellers. So I determine if I even want to do business. Forget what the offer is. If it's a best offer, I will 9 times out of 10 take a moment and look to see who I'm dealing with. And I don't look to see if they have any false positives because it's just not something I look for. If we looked for a false positive feedback on every buyer because it's such a rarity, it would be just a waste of time. Unfortunately, there's sellers that think they can maybe retaliate on a negative feedback that they've received, because I don't see why a seller would even want to waste time. I don't care how bad the buyer is. If they haven't left you any negative feedback, I don't know why you would go in and leave a false positive at all. I'm the kind of person that I have my feedback set up to automatically leave a positive once the buyer's left me a positive, right? And so maybe they don't ever leave a positive feedback at all, and that's fine with me. No news is good news. And honestly, if I have a bad buyer, someone that's questionable, we get a transaction going, they get the item, I never hear from them again, and maybe they were rude and someone I don't want to deal with again, then I'll simply just go and block them. And that's really all sellers should do in that case. I just think that it's against the spirit of the eBay feedback system to even do that. I mean, again, unless you're dealing with a buyer who is also a seller, that feedback really isn't going to be looked at if they never sell on the platform. So it's a practice. I understand the frustration that we cannot leave negative feedback for buyers, but in no way, shape, or form is a false positive feedback going to replace that or really benefit other sellers in any way, shape, or form. That's my opinion. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. But to me, it's just a practice that, and coming from me, I do a lot of things that you guys think I waste my time doing. I really think that this practice is somewhat of a waste of time for the most part. So I just wanted to say in the last video I made, and I'll put the link right above, you know, I was overwhelmed with the amount of feedback that I got and comments that I got from you guys that pretty much said, hey, keep doing what you're doing, keep reporting these bad buyers, you know, and it's something I needed to see because I just didn't know if the majority of the viewers wanted to see that type of content or not. And I don't want to put out stale content. So, you know what? If that's what you guys want, when it happens, I'll tell you about it. I'm certainly not the kind of person that will, you know, make up a story just to make a video. If I don't have content, I really, you know, won't put anything out. Just took a return today, and you guys see my hand, right? That's not how my hand normally looks. I received a printer. This is a Brother printer. It's a color, has the red or the magenta, cyan, yellow, and black cartridges. And I shipped this out. Everything was working great, right? And the buyer said when they received it, they opened a return as the item was damaged. They said that they were not able to print with the yellow cartridge. So it was a surprise to me, but of course I accepted the return. I have no choice. And the return came back, and I opened the return, and they didn't really even bother to use much packaging, internal packaging to protect the printer at all. But what was weird to me is I pulled the printer out, I ended up getting just ink. It was ink all over the side of the printer. And 3 of the cartridges were all over the box. The yellow that he said didn't even work was in the printer. I mean, this printer was saturated with ink. You know, I was wearing shorts. I even got some on my knee somehow. I don't even know how I did that. And of course, the back part was broken off of the printer where you take that little back piece off of the printer to clear a jam. It was broken into 2 pieces. And, you know, I have this printer that is full of ink. It's to me, has no value. Maybe the tray has resale value, the paper tray. But even if I was able to accept the return and maybe figure out what's going on with the yellow side of, you know, the yellow cartridge, maybe it needs a new cartridge, maybe there's something clogged in the printer, that's out the window now. And what's weird about it is eBay and their glitches, right? So I go in to do the return. Of course, you still have to process the return. And I go in to process the refund. They're not getting the original shipping back, and they're not getting the full refund. In fact, we're taking 50%. We've got all the photos. You know, no seller should have to go through this, really. It's like I'm in Iraq and I'm trying to vote. You know, it's like, come on, really? So I don't know how long this is going to stay with me. Probably days, maybe a week, who knows? But I've been trying to scrub this off, and no matter what I try, if you guys have any idea what I've tried the Goo Gone, that's not working. So if you guys have any idea how to get this inkjet ink off of my hand, I'd really appreciate that feedback. But they're getting 50% back. Of course, many of you would say don't refund them at all, but you can't do that. You can't allow it to time out. eBay will give them the refund in full. We're not trying to do that right now. but I'm using the refund tool. I have 5 photos. I have a photo of, all the ink all over my hand. I have the photo of the inside of the box full of like loose cartridges. It's almost like they didn't even bother putting the cartridges back in the printer. They just threw it back in the box. So we have just photos of that, along with, the item came back broken, and the outer part of the printer is saturated with blue and red ink. It's just quite gross, to be honest with you. It's headed for the trash can. Maybe give it a chance to dry out a little bit. The crazy thing is, in the printer tray, there's a bunch of paper, right? And here's a printout that was in with the printer. And it looks like a pretty good printout to me. So I don't know what's going on here. I didn't get the serial number. It was like an $80 printer. I didn't get the serial number in the listing. I don't know if this is a swap out. I have no way to know. That's on me. But it seems like someone was able to run prints just fine. This wasn't my paper. I didn't run this print. So maybe user error. Maybe they broke it and they sent it back with the broken pieces. Maybe they swapped it out. I don't know. But this is what I got rewarded with. And I'm going to give a 50% refund. But I put the photos on there, put the reason, and I typed in, a little paragraph that eBay allows you to do. And the photos are just spinning. I tried that on the PC, tried that on the app. I tried a different browser, same result. Anybody out there having problems with the refund tool? Because maybe it's just me, but I need to, I have till Tuesday to figure this out. Hopefully by then it'll work. Don't want to get eBay involved. Don't want to deal with that mess either. Don't want to deal with this. But just sharing with you guys just some of the fun stuff that is involved in this business. Put your comments down below. Let me know what you think. Have you ever had a printer that did this to you on a return? So comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and of course hit that notification bell so you can be notified when I make a video like this or go live. So the feedback system that eBay has given us can be very, very frustrating. I get it. I understand. But you know what? We have to work within the rules that eBay has put in place for us. It's eBay's sandbox. It's eBay's game. We have to choose to play it. And as long as we're playing it, we have to play within the spirit of the rules. We can't circumvent their policy and leave false positives for bad buyers, false positives that most sellers won't see anyway. So eBay's feedback system's broken. I think a lot of us can admit to that, but it's also just another example of how flipping ain't easy. And I want you guys to have an excellent start to your week, and I will talk to you very soon.